Hello friends, I am Dr. S.P. Mathu, Department of English. Today I am going to take classes of BA English Honours, SEM 2, paper 63, and the poem is Dawn at Puri by Jayant Mahapatra. The poem is Endless crow noises a skull in the holy sands, tilts its empty country towards hunger. White-clad widowed women past the center of their lives are waiting to enter the great temple. Their austere eyes stare like those caught in a net, hanging by the dawn's shining strands of faith. The pale early light catches ruined leprous shells leaning against one another, a mass of crouched faces without names, and suddenly breaks out of my hide into the smoky blaze of a sullen solitary pyre that fills my aging mother, her last wish to be cremated here, twisting uncertainly the light on the shifting sands. So this is the poem by Jayant Mahapatra, and talking about the poet, Jayant Mahapatra is an eminent Indian English poet who was born in Cuttack in 1928. He taught physics in Ravenshaw College, Cuttack. He began to write poetry quite late in his life, that is from the age of 40. That is in 1968 he began writing poem. He is a prolific poet. His first volume of poems, Close the Sky 10 by 10, contains 49 poems on a wide variety of themes. His second volume, Swayamvara and Other Poem, 1971, shows signs of remarkable maturity. It contains only 33 poems. Blind Singer in a Train and Faith are two memorable poems of this volume. Dawn at Puri appears in his collection of poems A Rain of Rights, published in 1974. Most of the poems of this volume are conspicuous for restraint in the use of words, suggestive images, and symbols, Indianness, especially the depiction of Orissa landscape, the rites and rituals in the temple town of Puri, and a variety of themes. Dawn at Puri is a brilliant and realistic description of the temple town of Puri with its endless crow noises, a skull lying on the holy sands, white clad widowed women waiting to enter the temple. Dawn at Puri depicts Mahapatra's awareness to the environment of Puri, the famous temple town of Orissa. The famous temple of Lord Jagannath, a holy place of worship, is situated here. The poet very artistically depicts the morning scene in Puri township where people of Orissa wish to be cremated like Benares in order to attain salvation. The scene depicted here is at the early hours of morning by the river at Puri, where countless crows are cawing. They must have seen a dead body which they want to eat. The poet who is wandering there, that is actually a cremation ground, comes across a skull of dead body whose body has not been fully consumed by the fire. The sight of the skull ironically suggests the extreme poverty of the people of Orissa. It may also suggest the hollowness of rites and rituals of his community. So, now coming to the second paragraph, white clad widowed women past the centers of their lives are waiting to enter the great temple. Here, the poet very vividly portrays the agony and intense suffering of white clad widowed women who has passed their middle age. They are waiting eagerly to enter the temple gate to offer their prayers to Lord Jagannath. The widowed lady is given white sari to wear, and just because her her husband has died, he is no more, and the center of her life is no more. That's what people believe. The poet also hints at the patriarchal system of Hindu society, where women are subordinates and the temple is taken to be a great place where these widowed lady, these women find peace. Then coming to the third paragraph, we see that he says their austere eyes gives an expression of extreme sorrow and melancholy. They feel that they're quite helpless creature caught in a net. They have no worldly desires. They lack confidence in themselves. Here, net is the symbolic net of patriarchal society. They are not given full freedom. They live a life of tapped bird, like a tapped bird in an inhuman society. They have lost their freedom of thought as well as action. However, they are sustained by their religious faith. Then, coming to the next paragraph, we see that in the fourth stanza, the poet talks about the lepers with decayed and wounded bodies who sit in a line outside the temple to beg. Their faces bear an expression of timidity, helplessness, and unbearable agony. It also refers to the people who are of low caste, they can't enter the temple. Indirectly, the poet suggests that due to their discriminatory nature prevalent in Indian society from ages, these things continue to happen. Then in the fifth stanza, coming to it, we see that his eyes suddenly fall upon a burning pyre, and all of a sudden he begins to think about his aging mother, who has willed that after her death she should be cremated here on the sandy beach. The poem is realistic the poem is a realistic recordation of poverty and deprivation of majority of people in Orissa. These are also suggested by several phrases here or words like a skull, a white clad widowed woman, and ruined leprous shells leaning against one another, a mass of crouched faces without names. The evocative words and short closed structures contribute to the beauty of this poem. you have seen here that the poet has very pathetically or very sympathetically has dealt the outside scene of the temple of Lord Jagannath, where we find lots of helpless people sitting by the lane, begging, and especially it's very demoralizing to see the ladies who are of some are of um, medium age, some are old, and these people are just thrown away from their family and they take shelter just because their husbands have died. They have no place to live. It is the patriarchal society where ladies are given such type of treatment. So these are the things very humorously these are touched by the poet, and the particular dawn. The title of the poem, "The Dawn at Puri." Dawn at Puri doesn't mean that it is a particular single day dawn. It's every day. Every day the same story is repeated there. The poet has very emotionally and very evocatively had dealt with the poem, and it is one of the best poem of Jayant Mahapat.